Hello everyone, welcome to Green One Day at a Time. Today we are going to talk about indoor water garden in containers. They are nothing but aquatic plants arranged in different glass containers. So here are two examples that I have. This one is an Anubias in a candle stand, and this one is a Marimo moss ball. I love Marimo moss balls because they're very curious. They float at some times and they go down and sit on the floor of the jar at other times. Anubias is one of the few aquatic plants which will stand upright even if there isn't any water. Let's talk about the maintenance for such arrangement of aquatic plants. Any of the aquatic plants, when they are kept in small jars or vases, try to use water which is pure. So if you are going to use water from the tap, let the water sit in the open for overnight so that all the fluoride and chlorine can evaporate. This is an Anubias, and the Anubias has rhizomes. So when you use such plants, you need to make sure that the roots are not covered and they are exposed in the water, or else the plant will deteriorate very quickly. I haven't filled it up with water because I like the look of how the plant overflows from the pot or the vase. When you want to make such an arrangement, the choice of containers is unlimited. We can use a big vase or a glass jar such as this, or you could use a tall cup or coffee jars. This is one from Costa that I got. Or you could also use mason jars. They are brilliant for water arrangements. You can also use a small container like this. Whichever container you use, you have to make sure the plant that you're going to put in it is appropriate. For such a small jar, nano grass is a very good choice. They do not grow more than 15 centimeters tall, but we can easily trim them around. Apart from the container and the plants, you also need some sort of a substrate to hold most of the plants in place. So here I have some grit or small decorative rocks, and I also have sand, colored sand. So the Marimo moss ball is sitting in white colored sand. It gives a very good look against the green moss ball. The choice of substrate that you can use in such an arrangement is unlimited, because other than the grit and the decorative rocks, we can also use fish tank substrate, which comes in various colors and sizes. It is easily acquired from any aquatic shops. This is one of the plant I have that I want to use today. I don't know the name of the plant. I think it is some kind of a fern. You can see the difference between this particular fern and the Anubias. The Anubias stands upright even without the water helping it to stand tall, but the fern one will sink, will become floppy if there isn't any water. Another plant that I have for today's choice is this Cardinalis, and it's got beautiful pink stems and red and green leaves. So we'll try and use both in different arrangements and see how they look. With the Cardinalis, it can stand tall to some extent without water in. So I will add a bit of the decorative rocks and then put the Cardinalis in. Once I put the Cardinalis in, it's a bit too tall with the rocks. So we have to go around the other way, which is to put the plant in first and slowly add the grit around or the rocks around it. The maintenance of our indoor water container is very simple. So all you need is to take out any leaves or stems that have degraded and not allow it to disintegrate inside the water. Use water which, as I said earlier, which has been left in the open so that all the chlorine and fluoride has a chance to evaporate. And also top up any evaporated water with fresh water as and when is needed. There isn't any need for any fertilizer for such small arrangements. If there are multiple plants in a big container like a fish tank, then you might need to put in some fertilizer for them to survive. But in an arrangement as such here, doesn't need anything other than the nutrients the plants can get from fresh water. So once the water is added, you can see how beautiful the Cardinalis is looking through the water with the pink and the green color. Now for the fern-like plant in the Costa glass. I think it's a bit too tall, but let's try and see how it looks inside. So see, it's a bit too tall for the glass, so I will try to put it in another container. When we have plants in water, one of the issues we might face is that the water color might change and there might be moss building up on the sides of the glass. In order to stop this, we should aim to change the water every 2 weeks or so and let in with fresh water. So that will prevent the containers from building up with the green moss on its glass. So every time you do it, clean the glass from inside and change the water. If the containers are small, you might need to do it quicker than 2 weeks. An example is my Marimo moss ball. That particular container, because it is so small, I have to change the water every week. Because the mouth of this particular vase is so small, I'm using a very thin steel tool to arrange the decorative rocks around the base of the plant. It is done so that the fern is held in place, otherwise it will just float around. So there you go, my indoor plant. After fiddling for such a long time, I'm happy how it's looking in this container. I'm very excited with this particular new introduction into my indoor plant collection, especially the Marimo moss ball and the Anubias. They all look fantastic in water. I hope this has inspired you to start with one plant. It is much easier than any indoor plants that we have to look after. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching and see you soon with another one.